then you're recording it in.
Okay. Hello, Mark.
Hi Jackie.
Hello.
How are you? Hi.
Very well, thank you. Yeah, nice to meet you, because I
And nice to
actually
meet
have
you.
not met you, but Georgie Garwood, lovely girl that I spoke to on here about 3 weeks ago, she messaged to say that she'd met you and that it'd be a really interesting talk for me to talk with you. Well, I've talked with Rory Duff before, and I know it's along the same lines as that. And so Pam Gregory and Rory.
Well,
yeah, Rory Duff.
I've trained with Rory.
Oh, have you? So two of
Yeah.
my friends were with Rory yesterday in Dorchester. He was doing something in Dorchester yesterday. So yeah, very marvellous man. He's the one that's had that idea for the solstice and the equinoxes, where we all gather together around the country, well, around the world. And yeah, so that's a really lovely thing to do. So yeah, but I'll just say a little bit about Mark. You're a designer of sacred space. You harmonize properties, teach sacred designs and sacred architecture, and founder of Studio Leib. So as we go on, it come more, you know, what you actually do. But I did see a little video of a yurt, and I believe it was like a yurt that you created, did you?
Yeah. Oh, no video today, but we'll go through. Yeah, we'll you know, we've got lots of slides to show everyone. Otherwise, I'll just be explaining it. It's a bit too complicated. So we've got about 30 slides to show everyone, so they can see really clearly what the processes are.
Lovely. So can you tell us a bit about how you ever got into that, why your interest is there? Yeah, you're in England now, but you did live in Spain, I believe.
That's correct. I was in Spain for a couple of years. I'm now in Somerset. I've been here since December. I live near Cheddar, and I'm an interior architect and designer, and I've done that for about 25 years. And then about 15 years ago, I was actually living in Australia, and my entire life changed as a result of an energetic experience. I'd been doing martial arts since I was a child. When I was in Sydney, I went to find a Tai Chi master, and was doing Tai Chi, and the energy work just fundamentally changed me. The energy went up through the central channel into the brain, and of course, about 6 months, my entire worldview changed, and I started to research ancient science and sacred geometry and ancient systems of measurement, and then I started to realize that there was a whole world of knowledge that I'd never known about before. And then I realized that there must be a way to be able to design and to learn that this knowledge must be somewhere. And there must be a way to be able to design and use this knowledge to be able to create spaces where people can heal themselves, where they're really healthy, and also places where we can create new places where we can connect into ourselves, into nature, and into the high aspects of ourselves and the high aspects of the universe. And so I spent like about 2 years searching, and I found that person, and he's a teacher of the French tradition, which I'll explain in the slides. And then I came back to the UK a couple of years later, and then I met him and I trained with him. I've trained with him now for about 10 years, and from about 2018 for about 3 years, just crossing him into lockdown, I did the professional training, and so I've now fully integrated that into my work. And so I now have moved from designing. I used to design restaurants and hotels and houses and things, and I still do those things, but now I do it based upon the energy of the earth and the vibration and the vibrational quality of the place. I do that by a number of means, and I'll show you that in the slides. So otherwise, I won't get too technical now. So essentially, I discovered that this knowledge was still available. Basically, a knowledge that allows us to build with the energy of the earth, and to recognize that we can connect, and all our spaces can be connected. And some traditions will call that sacred, and others just very natural. So yeah, that's basically it. And I do that now, and I design spaces and objects and sanctuaries, and I teach and do research and balance houses. So it's a combination of all these different ways of working.
Oh, incredible. That sounds so lovely. There's a place near us that I'll just mention while I think of it. Amesbury. Have you heard of Amesbury? Near
I,
Romsey?
I've heard of it. I've not been.
Oh, so you've heard this chap, yeah. I mean, it's his own ground and he's done it all himself, but the knowledge that he's got there, and he's got a big billboard at the side which explains like all the connections to all the lines, the ley lines right through. Oh, it's incredible. So if
Wonderful.
you're ever down this way, I'd love to show you that,
I
Mark.
would love you to show me too. It sounds fantastic.
It honestly is, yeah. You would just appreciate it. But that sounds to me like a Kundalini awakening. Would you have called it a Kundalini awakening that
It
you
would.
had?
It's not Kundalini. No, it's
No.
no, Kundalini is something different. I've done a lot of Kundalini yoga, and this was different. This was a different channel. This was working with Taoist energetics. So the energy came from the perineum to the crown through a central channel between the two. But Kundalini is more spine based. It's different. It's a different frequency system, a different energetics. But Kundalini is really cosmic consciousness becoming alive within you, and there are many grades of that. This was well, and that system was chi, but you could say it was prana as well. That was just an activation of an amount of chi that I was able to generate through the training to go into the brain. So there was a change. Kundalini takes a long time to raise, so I didn't have a Kundalini experience, but
Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, that's because I know Paul Dubry Carey that had a Kundalini awakening and he thought he was dying for 4 days. It
yes,
was
I
severe.
didn't have that. No, mine was gradual
Yeah.
and was expansive, and it was a change of consciousness. I didn't have any of the really extreme stuff, thankfully. I know,
Oh,
because
that's
it can be very, very challenging for long periods of time.
yeah. But how it's awoken him to the earth, yeah, like he's in Egypt a lot of the time now, but how it's awoken you to this, it's just amazing. So I'll leave you to this presentation if you like, Mark, and then
Sure.
we'll, I'll be hopefully able to see if there's any questions. And yeah.
Wonderful. Right. So let's see if we can get the shared screen happening first time.
Oh yeah.
I think we should be fine. So can you see that?
I can, but you've got the surround at the minute, so you'll go to
Hold
the
on.
yeah.
We'll go to full screen.
Brilliant.
How's that?
There it is. Yeah.
Fantastic. Okay, so I create, as I said in your wonderful intro, I create a very specific design, and there's a name for this. It's called biophilic, which means that we're working very much with nature. The system that I've trained in really is a very old, ancient version of that, rather than the new system, which is to do materials, very much to do with energy, and it's to create places for wellness, for healing, and allow us to develop ourselves, all of the aspects of our spirit. So hold on. So are you still thinking okay? I'm just
Yes, that looks amazing. Yeah.
wonderful. So this is an overview of the work. So I designed, whether it's houses or homes or spaces or healing spaces, that those spaces can be indoors, like a landscape. We're going to see some of those in the presentation. I balance properties. That's working with the earth energies and the and different sorts of grids, but also the geopsychic work, the elements at the geopsychic level as well. And I do research as well. So we're looking at new ways of how we can use geometry and use the energies for healing and for plant growth. We see some of that at the end, and also a teach as well.
Yes. Yeah.
So the system that I studied in is about 1,000 years old. It's called the European Tradition of Master Builders. Essentially, it's a tradition of masters that inherited the sacred earth science and a science of harmony from the Celtic, the Vedic, and Arabic traditions. About 1,000 years ago, there are these masters were working with the ancient Celtic understanding of the energies of the land. And then at that time, knowledge came from the East, and they brought new ways of building, and that allowed them then to build the cathedrals, but to build those with these earth energies. So it's a combination of advanced geometry and understanding the energies of the earth, and then be able to build big, really big. And so one of those skills is called geomancy. That's also known as geobiology. You know, you had Rory on. He's a geobiologist. Geomancy is like the earlier version of that.
Oh,
And so then I've incorporated that into my own experiences and the way my design work. And I offer that as something called geometric alchemy, which is the way to transform spaces using geometry, the harmonics of the land, and also then how to analyze the space before and after by using the Akashic field. I'm sure some of your listeners will know about, to how to understand all the quantum information at different levels. So everything, all the work is vibration. We'll go into that in a second. So basically, you have this group of builders that were building all the sacred structures throughout Europe. The equivalent would be feng shui in China, which I'm sure some of your listeners know. It's the same, different tradition, doing the same work, essentially working with the land to allow us to connect with the land, allow us to connect into ourselves.
beautiful.
So this harmonic science basically recognizes that nature is sacred, allows us to connect heaven and earth. It's a science of frequency and vibration and of music, which allows us to build with the music of the land. That allows us to connect with the earth energies, to find the most powerful energetic spots for us to build on, to build our sacred places, our places for fertility and for celebration, also to make places really safe homes, and also to avoid the ones that are too powerful for us as well, because there are places that if we live and sleep there, we're going to get sick. It recognizes the sun and the moon, the earth and the planets, but also with a recognition of the elementals and the spirits of the land, which are the high frequency, high vibration consciousnesses of the different aspects of the land, whether it be the trees, the mountains, the water. They are the consciousness of the planet. And so we work with all those frequencies, the ones which come from the planetary level right down to a rock. And then when we combine them together, we can create really, really stunning harmonic spaces.
Beautiful.
So I'm not going to dwell on the science too much, but essentially there's a system to be able to understand the geometry of the planets, to be able to build with them, and then to create transformation. And it's linked to the science of alchemy, how we can change one thing into another, how we can change one space by adding in the frequency of the planets, and then to create this wonderful vibration, this high vibration. And it allows us to work with the 5 elements: earth, air, fire, water, and ether, and also to open up the music of the land. So essentially, I'm designing with the music of the land, frequencies of the land. And then when you build with them, when you put stones of the land or you make a building, you then create a musical structure. A structure then plays the music of the land back to itself so it can heal itself. And then you're enhancing the harmony, whether that's within your home or within that's in your temple or your place of healing. We're working with the music of the land itself. So one of those aspects we work with is earth energies, dragon lines, water lines, underground lines of fire, grids. All these different aspects are worked together, and we would find the right combinations to use and to locate the structures we're going to build. So I'm sure a lot of your listeners will be familiar with those. So ley lines being one of that. There are many different aspects of this network of structures and energy grids within the landscape. So here we can see a vortex in the middle of this structure, where there's a crossing of different water lines. So the difference is that I then build structure on top of these. So we can go and find them in the landscape. We can connect with them, like Rory's group you're talking about. They go to sacred sites, and the big groups are coming together to then connect, and then to meditate, and then to be able to connect to those vortexes. The difference is I'm then using the center of those vortexes to build structures on, so we can have different effects, and we'll see those in a moment. So here's some surveying work, looking at the land, looking at dragon lines running through the landscape. This is in Gloucestershire, and see how there's this forest here, this line. Can you see my cursor? Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Wonderful. There's one line coming through this forest in this valley, these lakes in this valley, and then this point here is this is house and a garden, and then these lines are crossing, and they've chosen to cross within this garden. This then becomes the center of this then becomes the center of a special shrine within that garden. This is understanding the energies in the landscape. This now then is a different scale of energies. This is in homes where we have different sorts of lines. These are underground fault lines. The blue ones are underground water lines. And it's really important to understand where those lines are in your homes, because you really don't want that line, don't want them crossing underneath beds. So this is really the most important thing when we're siting and designing houses, to be able to understand where the lines are, so we don't get conditions where we've got crossings underneath beds. That's a large part of the work, looking at houses and keeping them balanced. So sometimes when we're designing them, we can really know where they are and work around them. Other times, if someone has a house, there's different ways we can bring harmony to then reduce the impact. Sometimes they can be quite considerable negative impact to the lines if they're sleeping and living on them. They can cause a lot of health problems. That's part of the health, the property harmonization service that I offer. So then when we're in the landscape, we want to create special places in the land. There's different configurations of structures, and some of your listeners, I'm sure, will be familiar with this one. This is a labyrinth. This is an island.
Yes.
This is an island, and this lady here is standing here. She's a seer. She's very clairvoyant. She was then standing here. She was seeing all the energetics that appear. This labyrinth had just been built. Had been built with the music of the land, and because of that, it gives it a lot more power. At this moment, she told me after, she was seeing spirits coming in from 4 directions. These spirits that were coming in to jostling to connect to this new place of harmony in the landscape, of purity. And she also then saw interconnecting pyramids coming down and being inverted. So the geometry then creates these archetypal forms in 3 dimensions on the etheric planes. Once you use the harmony of the place. If you didn't have that, it's still going to be a wonderful structure. It's just that when you add the harmony, you're adding all this additional connection and that power, and that connection above and below, because really you're connecting the earth with the heavens through that geometry, and it creates that connection. Also, when we build in this way, this geometry creates really quite amazing things. So this is the same labyrinth, but you can see here, you see these names, these liver, bladder, stomach, spleen.
Yeah.
These are the 12 meridians of Chinese medicine. So the 12 key meridians, energy channels that relate to the organs. We found that when you build with the harmony, the music of the land, what happens is that when you stand in these spots and you move around, you get a cleansing, the same as you would working with an acupuncturist. So that it actually becomes a structure in which you can walk it and heal yourself. And so there's a very deep connection between these lines, and they're all in the lower half. So in the lower half is to the physical, and the upper half is to do with the etheric and the astral. So there are many incredible mysteries that come up when you're able to then work with these frequencies.
Can I just say, what was a triple heater? Well, I think while it's there, triple heater.
Triple heaters is another one to do with the heart, I think.
Oh, really?
Yeah. It's not an organ. So there are some that are, some of them that are, a couple of them that are not the system. They're not purely to do with organs, but it's related. Yeah, Tripahita it's a particular Chinese medicine name for one of the channels.
Beautiful.
We create something called a chakra path, which is quite amazing, which relates to the chakras, which we were talking about earlier, the 7 chakras through the body, but also it relates to the golden ratio, which is this spiral. And this is the ratio that's found in all of nature, the ratio between the finger and the hand, and then the palm to the elbow. So it's the 1.618, the ratio, like the flowers behind you on your wall. Basically, the ratio that is part of the whole of underpins all of life, and this ratio then spirals infinitely. It's a transcendental number. It's actually a spirit in geometric form. And so we built this structure. So this is a chakra path. And what happened is we built the golden ratio. This is the spiral. Can you see the spiral?
Yeah.
Yeah. We built the spiral, and around it you can see the big stones here. These stones here are activating the music, the harmony of the land. And when it was built, we walked it and doused it. And then you can see here, it says throat, third eye, heart, solar plexus. The chakras, which appear obviously through the central channel of the body, appear on the spiral. And so they come, we don't know where they come, they naturally arise. But also then we got a point here that links to the earth, one here that links to heaven. And also we had something interesting happen as well. We actually had 2 sacral chakras appear, one for the male, one for female. We don't know why. It's part of the magic that occurs when you start to connect the music into the land. This then becomes a place you can then walk, then balance your chakras. And so it's a device to bring us back into balance.
Beautiful.
Okay, so this is the connection. When we spoke last week, I was at Georgie's in Devon, and I just built a medicine wheel. So I'm just going to show you this now. So a medicine wheel is a Native American structure, a land healing device, which is a circle with a square in it. So it's a symbol of the sun. And in the Celtic tradition, as the Celtic cross is the same symbol. We're used to seeing them stood upright, as you can see here. So here we have a Celtic cross. It's the same symbol, 2 different traditions, basically using them as a key, as a main symbol for cosmology. So the medicine wheel is a connection point between heaven and earth, between the 3 worlds: the upper world, the lower world, and the middle world. So this is the medicine wheel on Georgie's land. It's about 60 meters wide. And you can see here there's this 1, 2, 3, 4 stones. This is the grid which creates the music. And you can see here that the alignments, you have the alignment towards summer solstice, summer solstice sunrise. And this is then summer solstice sunset. So this then becomes a calendar. So this is aligned to north and south. It's aligned to the equinox, which is the half, which we just had on Saturday. And this then gives you the winter solstice sunrise and sunset as well. So this then becomes a calendar. And once this structure is in place, the energy of the sun is, and which in our tradition we call ether, which is the 5th element. This energy then pours into the space throughout the year. And this is the very foundation of then working and building spaces and houses and homes or sanctuaries where we bring the power, the vitality of the sun into the space. And then each of these circles is a different frequency. There's lots of different musical notes here. There's about 8 or 9 different musical notes. And over by this stone, you'll see there's another one which creates protection. So all of this, so you can see all of these are musical frequencies, like musical notes built in stone.
How did you know what to do there? Did Georgie have an idea what she wanted, Mark? Or you just created that?
She said we discussed it. She had this very place in mind, and we discussed it. And I think she'd seen one I'd done before. I have built 3 of these in the UK, and very much where we have it as a essentially it's a Celtic medicine wheel, because we're working with this Celtic science, the Celtic harmony, but also because you can see here the entry points are splayed out in the same way a Celtic cross is splayed out. And so the wonderful thing with the medicine wheel is that it gives you a really big space in the middle to do ritual and energy work, and you'll see in a moment some photos from that. So it's a really amazing structure to do that with. And then around here, you actually have a circle here. There's actually a stone circle within the medicine wheel doing a very particular job. So all these layers of stones are designed and have the harmonies of her land. If we were to move this to, say, Glasgow, it wouldn't quite work because the geometries don't work. So we would then have to slightly change it for that place. So this is a solution specific to her land. So if you think about like a Chinese, if you went to a Chinese doctor and they put together a herbal remedy, they would choose the herbs to fix your condition, and they work together in harmony to heal you or to fix that specific thing. It's the same with these geometries. They're all working together and to give medicine to the land and to give medicine to people that use it as well. It's about healing us and the land.
How do you source the stones that you need then? Is that they come from a specific place that you know, or?
No, in each instance, I work with the owner, and then we try and get them from as close to the site as we can. So it's not from a central source. So if I'm doing one in Scotland, we'll get them from Scotland.
Honestly, I feel emotional just looking at that. It's so amazing.
Thank you. Yeah, it's really, really lovely to build. And so here's the energy in the center.
Oh.
So we worked with, you'll see in a moment, we worked with a group, and there's spiraling actions. So all of this creates a vortex. So when I discover the location, I find a specific type of crossing of earth energies, and then when the geometry is built on top, it creates its own vortex. When they connect together, they unite, and they create this very powerful central vortex. So it relates to the central line in our bodies, which allows you to connect up. This is a very powerful place of meditation because it's pulling down as well as going up. So you're grounded. So it's a very grounding, even though it's powerful, it's very balanced and draws you back down to the earth, rather than being something that's very heady and taking you out of your head and transcendental. It's very balanced. All the work is about creating absolute balance in that place, which allows us to have more balance in our lives.
Really wonderful.
So this is a bit of a close-up. You can see the wonderful granite in this stone. So there's high quartz content. So this is granite. This is traditionally all ancient sites will try and use high quartz content stone because it's got that silica content means that those stones actually can hold electrical charge. They raise the vibration through those crystals. And so from the center here on the right, going through here through this stone, this is the line of the summer solstice sunrise. There's a stone here that creates protection. This creates an energy field around, like an energy dome. And then here it's a solar vortex. It's a very special point that's created on that line. The sun on this line, when it's built, it creates a really powerful, beautiful energy point where you can feel that vitality of the sun.
I would think the whole land around there is so grateful to have that now. Yeah.
Well, you're absolutely spot on. One of George's neighbours came by who was very sensitive and said that you can see here that the wheel was then healing all of these trees on this tree line. And actually what does happen is that when we build these structures, when you build with the actual music of the land, something very special happens. So you're really spot on. What occurs is that when we create this, and we can douse this, it's quite wonderful, is once this is built, the trees create new energy connection and energy lines to that center. Because what happens is that there's a crossing of underground, let's say there's underground water in different lines here already. But then when you connect the movements of the sun and the moon into this place and you open up this energy, the trees around it connect to it. They recognize it as being part of their own ecosystem. They recognize it as being alive, as being sentient. They recognize it as being one of their own family. And so what that happens, what that means then is that when you build with this geometry, when you build with the music of the place, you can then create bioarchitecture in which the ecosystem recognizes, accepts, and connects to that structure. So it really is bioarchitecture in the true sense of the word. It is really alive with that vitality of the heavens and the earth.
All sacred.
Yeah, exactly.
Beautiful.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Summer solstice. So the moment of summer solstice, and then about 15 minutes later, as the sun's coming up. So this is the summer solstice line.
Oh,
The same way. And this was last weekend. So after we just spoke, here's Georgie in the center.
beautiful.
So what we did was we had a group, and then we walked anti-clockwise around the center, and that vortex then basically is going up, right up between their legs. You then get this sort of sense of grounding and opening, and people were seeing colors. And she has a pink quartz there underneath the feet, and two people had pink columns of light and different wonderful experiences. So it's, and then the different structures can do different things. So we have one in Somerset which works to open the throat chakra in particular. So that this is a cleansing and opening structure. And here we did some dowsing as well. We did some dowsing training. Okay, so I'm going to move on. Just going to do a little bit about the design. So we've seen how we can work in the landscape, but we can apply the geometries in different ways. Here's a drawing of a bed, so I can actually use the dimensions on a bed, so I can design customized beds for people, and you get to sleep in the music of the land and have the most incredible sleep you've ever had. Or other objects can be designed with the music of the frequency or the harmony of the place. This is a yoga shala in Bali. You can see here all the dimensions around here, and you can see here quite clearly this is mapping the earth energy lines and how there's a vortex in the middle that's in the center, vitalizing the space. And this is the design for a timber Celtic roundhouse for a sauna. So you can see it again, utilizing the same principles, working with the trees, working with the landscape, working with the music, then to be able to create a space which is really alive using natural materials. And so the whole thing is alive with the energy, the energies of the water of the place. And another structure to water, because we wanted to talk water and harmony. This actually is a reference for this is a fountain in the gardens of the Alhambra Palace in Granada in Andalusia. And so the ancient Arabic builders had this science. This came from them. And what we're seeing here is some designs for that I've created for a new holy well, a healing well, where the different frequencies of the place are used to create a structure to contain and enhance and protect the waters. Okay, so this is the last section, which we're gonna talk about some new things. I'm the director of a place called Earthlight, which is a medicine garden in Somerset. So we're about 30 minutes from Glastonbury and about 10 minutes from Cheddar. And it's an acre of land where we grow medicinal herbs, and we have eco community, and we have medicine wheel, and we do workshops, and we tell people about natural healing and how they can utilize the land and connect to the land. And so we have plant to nature connection. We're focused on health sovereignty, water consciousness. We recognize the different aspects, the different cycles of the year. And allow people to come to recognize that when they connect to those cycles, when they connect to the land, we can then have more grounding, more balance, and more alignment in our lives. And then from those herbs we make essences, and we do multi-dimensional gardening. We're actually working with the plants and working with the waters and working with the frequencies, and really recognizing that all the landscape has many dimensions, and we talk to the plants and the elementals and do wonderful things. This is different ways where we're working with the plants and working with consciousness and recognizing the conscious aspects of the plants and the rocks and the land itself. So we have medicine wheel here as well, and here we have sound workshops and different rituals happening in the wheel. This wheel actually, unlike Georgie's, this one you can see has 4 central sections. It's now a herb garden, so we're then growing medicinal herbs within the medicine wheel, and the different plants relate to the different directions. So plants for the north that have a quality to do with that element. So that's elemental and directional gardening.
Stunning, Mark, stunning.
Thank you. And then we've been doing some research this summer. So we've been looking at our seeds. We've been looking at how we can impact the quality and the speed of growth from our seeds. So we did some tests. So we had a control, and then we water some, so there's control, and then some we gave love, someone we utilized something called we have an Earthlight meditation where we draw energy from the center of the earth. Others we had particular plasma water. We used one with something called paramagnetic rock dust. And the others we put into a pyramid, and this is building the pyramid. It's a very special pyramid, and we're going to be teaching this next year. It's a pyramid that has a very strong energy field. And we did it. We looked at calendula, dwarf beans, beetroot, and gold and red frills. So we just did the test. And what happened is when we finished the test, the pyramid came out on top. And I'm doing a lot of research into this very special pyramid, which actually there's been a lot of research undertaken in Russia, funny enough, in the 90s. And then these seeds were in the pyramid. The second highest result was just giving it love, so consciousness, which we all know. But it was wonderful then to see that in the test. And then,
so when you're saying giving it love, you just sent love to it, or you had love written underneath it?
We sent love to it. We sent love to it with our consciousness.
Beautiful.
And then one that was a control, it only had waters. They all had water. Control had nothing else. Control only had water, and the results were very, very clear. The pyramid was so successful, we did another one purely with the pyramid, and you can see here in the background. So this is the control. This is all sunflowers. This is the control in the background. This is our sunflowers in the pyramid. So over here, this is our control, which is that one there. So you can see here, like just about 4.5 fingers worth of my hand. Yeah.
Yes.
And then this is the one in the pyramid, almost double. So in the same time period, we had almost double the height. And then we had about 45 to 50% more seeds. As you can see here, so you can see about 50% more growth compared to the control. That's coming from the geometry of the pyramid. So yeah, this is quite remarkable. These pyramids have many amazing effects, and I'd probably need to do an entire podcast with you to tell you all the amazing things they discovered when they built them in Russia. They built a 44-meter high one, and it changed the weather and changed the environment. And they put some stones in this pyramid, and this white crystallization appeared in these stones. They took the stones and they put them around the prison, and all the violence stopped. It's quite remarkable. It's a very, very powerful. Yeah. So
in olden times, they naturally would have known this, and we've lost it over the years, haven't we?
Yeah. Yeah, we have, but luckily it's coming back. We can do it.
Absolutely,
we can do it now.
yeah. Well, my friend took to thinking he wanted a pyramid in his garden, and he slept in it. And like you say, wow, stunning. Yeah. Really.
Yeah, absolutely. We have the science now, and we'll be teaching we'll be teaching all the pyramid stuff next year. We also did some work on something called electroculture, which has got very big, thankfully, in the last couple of years. That's really understanding how electrical current and electrical fields can enhance growth. So very, very simple ways. And these are using spirals. So do you remember when we saw the chakra path and there was a golden ratio spiral? Well, these are golden ratio spirals. And then just by utilizing them and aligning them here north to south, so aligning with the magnetic field. So remember when we saw the medicine wheel that was lined up north to south as well. When we align ourselves with those energies, then we can get greater growth and greater alignment. So here are some of our beetroots doing really well, and different tests here using copper as well. And then I think this is the last slide. This is again also part of our we'll be teaching it next year. This is something called paramagnetic towers, which is basically tubes using inside here. This black stone is basalt, so volcanic rock. So volcanic rock is incredible for growth, for growing things. And there's a body of work where an amazing researcher in the 1950s discovered how the energies of the rocks, particular sort of magnetism, allows things to grow better. And then when you make tubes and towers from them placed on the land, things grow better as well. So we'll be working next year on the land to be able to put the towers in, to be able to balance the land, to work with the medicine wheel. Also then there are effects that can happen in terms of the environmental balancing as well. Even balancing the climate in your creating little microsystems for the climate, and the plants grow better. Yeah. So I think that's the last slide.
Oh, Mark, absolutely incredible.
So what I'm going to do is before I forget, this is a bit of an overview. So we'll bring the slide up again at the end after we talk.
Yeah.
If people want to check us out, Earthlight, the website's earthlight.uk. We're down in Somerset. We're about 10 minutes from Cheddar, and we do volunteering. So people want to come down and they're close by and they want to come and do some gardening and get multi-dimensional and learn about the energies. We'd love to see you. And then my website is markleib.com, and I think I've got a little bit of a special for a little offer for everyone, and we'll do that right at the end, and I'll stop sharing now, and then we'll end on that in a moment. How are we doing? Yeah, we're doing good for time.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah. That was amazing. Absolutely. Yeah. Goosebumps at times where it was so magical actually. Yeah, where you talk about the elementals, but everything's included. Yeah, it's very, very special what you're doing.
Thank you.
So yeah, Georgie, I didn't realize you'd created that for Georgie. I thought you just joined her for this retreat weekend that she did, but you stayed, like you created that and then was invited for the weekend, because all the girls that were talking about you and how amazing it was to speak with you and learn from you.
Thank you. No, I built that in May.
Oh, right.
We built it in May. And then we decided, once it was built, we said, look, let's get some people here. And so we did that last weekend. No, 2 weekends ago. And we had about 10 people out there. And so we had a full day where we were learning to dowse with rods, learning to feel the energies with the body. And then we went through understanding how the wheel was built, about the music, and then how you can apply that to making a little one for your garden, for your herbs yourselves. And then we did that where you saw these photos of us working with the wheel, working with the energies, and then we finished with a ritual to connect to the energies of the land.
Special. And when you spoke about the bed, that you could harmonize anyone's bed wherever it is in the house. So if there is water lines underneath or whatever, can you harmonize that? Or do you have to move the bed?
Well, there's several ways. Essentially, I can discover where there is good places and bad places. There are things that can be done to to enhance the harmony. But then if someone really is not doing well, and it's rare, but because it takes a bit of time to be able to develop it, we can actually design beds as well. So we can actually have a bed. If you're going to be, you're going to be in a place for quite some time, we can actually design a bed, utilize the music of the place, and you actually get to sleep in the music in that harmony. So really, it's sort of when we're designing houses and someone knows they're going to be there, we can design the room, the building, and the bed all together, so they all work. A bit like the matriarch, the Russian dolls, all the pieces, they're all in, they're all like that. Each of those elements are all part of that design. And then the bed's really important because we spend a third of our life there. But it's also, we want to be really healthy. And if where we're sleeping is on top of a crossing of earth energy lines, it can really be very detrimental to our health. At one level, just causes a lot of annoyance at the other. So we really want to protect the space from those energies. I mean, everyone's aware of the impact of electromagnetic energies, but less people are aware that there are energies from the earth can also impact us, and that's really important. So we always start with the bed. So if someone has a home, then we can then look at that and try and then make that the bedroom as healthy as possible. Or then if we're building new, we can really then make really high vibration, really protected sleeping spaces and beds as well.
I mean, I say that because years ago, when I first started Inspirations Positive Living, I had a speaker come, Diana Egby Edwards, quite well known in Dorset for many things. I think she's a hypnotherapist as well, but she's married, or her partner is a happiness coach, and he was really poorly. And when they started to investigate the bedroom that he slept in, whatever they used, I can't remember, it was so long ago now, but where you should have a high frequency running through the house, where there was underlying things it was a really poor, like whatever the numbers were. I think his number in the bedroom was something like 17 when it should have been, very high number. I can't remember numbers now or how they did it, but it was incredible, the difference in the room he was sleeping to all the other rooms. And then she started to investigate what sort of things could help harmonize the home, because the fact that she was so good at healing and hypnotherapy and that, and he was a happiness coach, in their mind there was no reason why he should be ill like he was. And it was about the harmony of the place they moved to. Yeah,
it's pretty much, there's even if you just take underground water, there's underground water everywhere, and the crossings are everywhere, and they're very, those fields, the fields that the waters create are very weak. But if we're sleeping there for a long time, they get into our body, and so it's a very can be a very powerful yet subtle impact on our lives. And if you're living there for 4, 5, 6, 10 years, the impact can be compounded. And what can happen is your health can degrade slowly. Other times, if a health condition comes up and that place is very powerful, you're sleeping on a very powerful crossing, you go away to get an operation, you can take a very long time to heal, and sometimes you can not heal as well. So it's really important to understand the power that's in the land, and we want to respect it, but also we want to know where we should be and where we shouldn't be. And unfortunately, this old knowledge, this old understanding of where to place buildings has got lost, and so we have all these problems where the old way was to understand where we should be putting our living spaces, and as opposed to where we should be putting our places to work, and the different types of energies that are there. But yeah, we can fix it. But I'd say probably 99% of bedrooms has some level of harmonization, just because of those factors. Now we have so many frequencies. We have Wi-Fi and those other things. All of the work I talked about really is frequency. It's the frequency of the earth and frequency of then linking the planets. When they come together, we can bring more harmony. And
when you're saying music, the music of the room or the music of the land, what are you actually meaning by that? Because it's not actual music.
It is actual music, but you just can't hear it. Yeah, it actually is. What happens is that, do you remember when they had a slide up which slowed, there was some circles on the land and planets. What happens is that there's a way of creating a mandala, drawing of the circles and squares.
Very powerful, yes.
Yeah, and this mandala is drawn. And to a horoscope, for example, we know that a horoscope basically gives us the information of our birth at a location and time. When I draw a mandala, it gives me the information about the frequencies of a place, and those frequencies exhibit themselves in musical notes. And so it actually is the music of the place, just we can't hear it. The notes are so long and big that they're so low they can't be heard, but they can be felt. And it's the feeling, it's the quality of the combination of those notes together gives you that feeling. And then we're always looking for harmony. We're looking for that quality. So, for example, if I wanted to create a place, let's say a birthing place, I would use the energies of the sacral, of the lower chakras and the heart. But then if I wanted to create a new place for meditation, I might use heart, third eye, and crown. So I'm getting, it says before when I talked about the herbalist mixing in the herbs, actually mixing those musical notes, combining them in the building, and you get those feelings, but it also then accentuate those particular qualities. So when there's specialist activities to be worked with, we will then literally work with those musical notes that relate to those centers. And then, so for example, F for the heart, for example.
So when you moved from Spain to here and you had that knowledge then, well, obviously you've been working with the land and everything. So how did you find the place that you're living in? Like, was there much to change about it, or did you know straight away that was the place you wanted to be? Or
yeah, where I am now, I've been here since December. Yeah, it's really wonderful. We have a wonderful garden, and it's really good. Yeah, the work's ongoing with it, and I think that we can always improve. But it was we have a great place, and all some of the electroculture work we've done, and we've done the testing here as well. So it works really well. But unfortunately, there are I've also lived in places that are not good, and we do have to work with them as well.
Yeah. Oh, I've really enjoyed this, Mark. It's you wanted to finish with something that you're going to share with us. So
yeah. So should I just? I'm just going to share the screen again because we stopped sharing, didn't we? I'm just going to bring that slide back again.
Yeah, sure.
Is that back?
That's back.
Wonderful. So what I just wanted to say was the way I remember at the start I'm able to design. I also build, and like the medicine mill, I love to build those spaces. I do training and I teach. I also do we've just been talking about the harmonization, and so what I'd like to do is, if anyone's listening and they're interested to have that property harmonization work done and not quite sure, what they can do is they can drop me an email at markleib.com. And then what I can do is there's a really lovely way we can get started, and they can just send me a little drawing of one of their spaces, and then I can then find for them a really lovely heart-opening vortex, and it could then be a place that they can feel into. And then if they'd like to do that, then we can maybe work together more, because I really like to be able to start with a nice feeling place and a good quality space, as well as we're fixing and making them better. So if that's something that people would like to work to do, I'd love to help people. So some people may be familiar with other ways of working with space harmonization. That's working with the more geopsychic levels in terms of clearing the energies of the place. I do that as well. So the service looks at those geopsychic energies in terms of thought forms and entities, and basically energies that can accrue and part of the space over time, things that can be to do part of the like a karmic level. And then also I'm able then to look at the space and then to recognize where there might be earth energies that are not great. And so people can then know where to place beds and furniture and that sort of thing. And then there's different ways we can then look at to bring harmony to space, and then to find nice space as well. So if someone wanted to do that and then someone wasn't quite sure, they can drop me an email, and then we can find a nice spot in advance, and then they can get a sense of how it works, and then we can move forward with the harmonization, if that's something they want to do in the house.
Wonderful. Next year, perhaps we could look at having you here for a workshop. That, you know, if we could put a day on, because we've got a really beautiful venue that you would absolutely love, I'm pretty sure, where we could do a beautiful workshop together.
That sounds fantastic.
I would love that. Yeah,
I'd love that too.
And then I could show you this other space as well, or we could even perhaps look at doing the workshop there in Amesbury. But yeah. Oh, Mark, thank you so much for sharing this. It's been so interesting. I think, you know, for people to understand, I've been doing the positive living now for 10 years, 10 and a half years. So, and I've had quite a few different speakers on sacred geometry and that over that time. But it's taken me a long time, and I can't say I understand it now. But the more we hear about this and understand how sacred our land is and how, you know, it needs to be honoured, I think it's just a really good thing to hear people like you. So very grateful for the work you do, Mark.
Thank you.
Thank you for anyone watching. I didn't look to see if there was any questions, but if you go to the page afterwards, Mark, my page, there might be questions there if you have a little look.
Yeah, I can do that.
Yeah, thank you anyone that was watching this tonight, and I'm sure we'll speak again, Mark.
Yeah, I'd love to, and I hope we can organise it for next year.
Brilliant. I'll definitely look into that. Thank you.
Thanks, Jackie.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye.